Especially in this age of Kali, it is not easy to focus. जैसे पहले के युगों में हम देखते थे, जैसे हम पुराणों में और इतिहासों में हमारा स्टोरीज और वर्णन इत्यादि आते हैं कि कैसे हजारों लाखों वर्षों के लिए कोई एक पैर पर खड़ा हुआ है या एक उंगली पर खड़े होकर तप कर रहा है, योगासन कर रहा है। वो सब ये जो कलयुग है इसमें पॉसिबल नहीं है। जैसे हम लोग बहुत सिंपली ये चीज़ को समझ सकते हैं। जैसे हम लोग में से अगर किसी ने भी कोशिश भी किया होगा अगर ध्यान करने का, मेडिटेट करने का, तो हम ये चीज़ समझ सकते हैं कि ये एक आसान चीज़ नहीं है ना? हम जैसे ही बैठते हैं, पहला चीज़ तो आज हम लोग डिस्कस डिस्कस करेंगे आगे की तरफ, भगवान बताएंगे कि कैसे बैठना होता है, कहाँ बैठना होता है, किस तरफ देखना होता है, क्या चीज़ का ध्यान करना होता है, ऐसा ध्यान करने से क्या मिलेगा, ये सारा चीज़ हम लोग आज डिस्कस करेंगे। बट स्टिल अगर हम लोग देखें तो आज की तारीख में हम लोग एक बहुत छोटे पीरियड ऑफ टाइम के लिए भी, like maybe if we can focus for at least 2 minutes or 5 minutes, it's a big feat, है ना? हम लोग बोलते हैं कि वाओ इट वाज सक्सेसफुल। पहले के टाइम पे लोग अनइंटरप्टेड फॉर मंथ्स एंड डेज एंड वीक्स दे वुड सिट एट वन प्लेस एंड डू ध्यान, लेकिन आज के टाइम पे वो पॉसिबल नहीं है। हम लोग सुबह उठते हैं और हम लोग सोचते हैं कि आज मैं मेडिटेशन करूँगा। आजकल तो मेडिटेशन का बहुत अलग अलग प्रकार के टाइप्स ऑफ मेडिटेशन भी आ गया मार्केट। जैसे कि देर आर सम पीपल हु डू अफर्मेशन मेडिटेशन, सम पीपल who do mindfulness meditation. There's a different forms of meditation have come into it. So meditation essentially means that you focus on the supreme. That is meditation. To meditate on the supreme. Meditating on anything else is mundane. It is not spiritual. If you think that just putting a point on the wall and looking at it and staring at it and trying to only focus on the point will make you spiritual, you are wrong. It is not. It doesn't work that. Meditation means meditation of the supreme absolute truth. That's why in the last session we elaborately discussed from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, second chapter, about the feature of Paramatma. श्रीमद् भागवतम के दूसरे स्कंद का जो दूसरा अध्याय है, उसके अंदर बहुत इलैबोरेटली अष्टांग योगी किनको मेडिटेट करते हैं, क्या फॉर्म को मेडिटेट करते हैं, वो चीज़ के बारे में बहुत इलैबोरेटली लिखा हुआ है कि परमात्मा कैसे हमारे अंदर विराजमान है और हम कैसे परमात्मा को देख सकते हैं और ध्यान कर सकते हैं ये चीज़ का। तो हम अगर ऐसा सोचे कि ध्यान कोई भी वस्तु का हो सकता है और हमें वही फल प्राप्त होगा जैसे योगियों को होता है या सिद्ध पुरुषों को होता है, तो हम गलत है, ऐसा नहीं होता। तो हमें ध्यान भगवान के ऊपर करना चाहिए। फर्स्ट थिंग, द ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ मेडिटेशन इज कृष्णा और विष्णु सुप्रीम लॉर्ड। सो द प्रॉब्लम इज हम लोग जैसे ही सुबह उठ के बैठ जाएंगे ध्यान करने के लिए, नहाकर मस्त आके एकदम बैठेंगे, आँख बंद करेंगे और ध्यान करने का कोशिश करेंगे, तो हम लोग ये चीज़ फाइंड करते हैं कि हमारा जो मन है ये इतना अस्थिर है कि ये इधर से उधर, उधर से इधर, इधर से उधर, उधर से इधर हमको एक रोलर कोस्टर राइड पे लेके जाता है ना? ऐसा मुझे पता नहीं बाकियों का अनुभव, मेरा तो अनुभव यही रहा है कि जैसे ही बैठो, आँख बंद करो और फोकस करने का कोशिश करो और मन आपको इतने सारे इमोशंस के थ्रू, इतने सारे फीलिंग्स के थ्रू, इतने सारे विशेस डिजायर्स के थ्रू, इतने सारे थॉट्स के थ्रू ऐसा घुमाता है, हम पूरा घूम जाते हैं उसके अंदर और ध्यान नहीं करते। सो एंड सेकेंडली हमारा आयु उतना लंबा नहीं है कि कलयुग के जो जीव है मैक्सिमम हम लोग, है ना, 100 ईयर्स तक मैक्सिमम हो सके तो हम लोग जी सकते हैं, पर वो 100 का भी कोई गारंटी नहीं है। स्पेशली पीपल लिविंग इन सिटीज लाइक बॉम्बे और दिल्ली, इट इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू इवन रीच अप टू 80। इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट, 80 भी बहुत दूर बोल रहा हूँ, बिकॉज ऑफ द लाइफ स्टाइल वी आर लिविंग इन and the habits that we have, the food that we consume, and the pollution, the environment around us, and because of all these things our life is affected. We don't have much time in this world, and because we don't have much time we find that it is very difficult to curb your mind, just by your own endeavor, trying to curb your mind. In the Bhagavad Gita itself we will see in future that Arjuna says to Krishna that, my dear Lord, this mind is so flickering. I can, with my prowess, I can control the wind that is flowing. I can control this wind. But my mind, I cannot control it. Why? Because it is chanchalam, it's restless, it is going here and there. If Arjuna, whose focus is something that everyone looks up to, whose focus is the most celebrated one throughout Mahabharata, if he is saying this, what to speak of us in this age of Kali? So mind is not a very favorable thing to conquer over. It will not just act as per your wish. It will like to make you dance a bit by throwing in thoughts and all those things. तो हम लोग देखते हैं कि बहुत मुश्किल है एक जगह पर बैठकर ध्यान कर। तो क्या करें? तो इसलिए कलयुग में ऐसा कहा जाता है कि जो युग धर्म है वो हरिनाम संकीर्तन है। कलयुग का जो युग धर्म है वो हरिनाम संकीर्तन है। और ऐसे शास्त्रों में एक वर्ष आता है, हरे नाम हरे नाम एव केवलम कलो नास्ते व नास्ते व नास्ते व गतिरन्नम। ये कली से बचने के लिए एकमात्र उपाय हरिनाम है, उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं। तो अब कई बार क्या होता है कि ऐसा कोई बोल देता है, ऐसा कोई बोल्ड स्टेटमेंट, तो बहुत सारे लोगों को ऐसा बुरा लगता है, या फिर दे फील कि ऐसा कैसा तुम, हाँ यू आर प्रोपगेटिंग दिस सो यू आर टेलिंग दिस, ऐसे सब। बट दैट इज व्हाट द स्क्रिप्चर्स टेल। दिस इज नॉट समथिंग सम कॉन्कॉक्टेड आइडिया। सम पीपल थिंक दैट यू नो ये इस्कॉन वालों ने खुद का ही बना दिया है कुछ, है ना? लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है। ये शास्त्रों का निचोड़ है, ये आचार्यों ने दिया है। वी आर जस्ट प्रोपगेटिंग, और वी आर जस्ट एक्टिंग लाइक स्पीकर्स, है ना? वो बोल पीछे से भगवान रहे, वो आगे सुना ही ऐसे एम्पलीफायर और स्पीकर्स के थ्रू आ रहा है। दिस इज द रियलिटी. Shastras are speaking, the revealed scriptures. Even in Bhagavad Gita, towards the end, we will see Satatam Kirtayanto Mam, Krishna will say, always you must chant my holy names. This is what Krishna says. So then the question might come that then why is Krishna speaking about Ashtanga Yoga here? One of the prominent reasons why Krishna is speaking about Ashtanga Yoga is because it is an authentic way of realizing God. Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is a real way of realizing the Paramatma feature of Lord. Like in the last section we described, there are different levels of understanding the Absolute. The Absolute is only one. There are different levels of understanding the Absolute. There is the generic understanding about the Brahman effulgence of Krishna, which is simply a distinction between matter and spirit, and you can say that the pure spiritual existence, that is Brahman. It is a very generic way of understanding God. Much more deeper than that is the understanding or realization as Paramatma, who is sitting within the heart of every living entity. The localized Paramatma who is sitting, that is Kshirodaksha Vishnu. About Kshirodaksha Vishnu also we discussed elaborately in the last session, that how Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and then there are three Paramatma features of the Lord. One is Karanodaksha Vishnu, also known as Mahavishnu or Bhauma Purusha. Then there is in each and every, from him, from the pores of his body, when he exhales, comes out innumerable cosmic manifestations, Brahmandas come. Within each and every Brahmanda, Mahavishnu only expands as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. From his navel, Brahmaji comes and he does the secondary creation. The primary creation is known as Sarga. So it is done by Mahavishnu himself, the primary creation, which has all these elements and things like that. The secondary creation is known as Visarga, which is done by Brahmaji. So Brahmaji is known as the engineer of this universe. So he comes from Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And after that, Lord Vishnu expands himself further and enters into the heart of each and every living entity, each and every jiva, as Paramatma. This is the Paramatma feature of that. That's why you see in Prabhupada in his purport, he writes localized Paramatma feature of the Lord. So each and every word that Prabhupada has written, he has chosen actually, so that we really understand and appreciate what the scriptures are trying to tell us. He could have generally wrote it like Paramatma. but we won't understand where is it. So Krishna in his localized form, when he is sitting with each and every one of us, he is known as Paramatma. That is Kshirodakshay Vishnu, Paramatma. So Paramatma is there. When a jnani realizes and he wants to get out of this cycle of birth and death, which is known as nirvana or moksha, what does he do? He wants to merge with the Brahman effulgence of coming from the body of the Supreme Lord. This is Brahman realization. Then there are yogis who realize the presence of Krishna in their heart, the presence of Kshirodakshay Vishnu as localized Paramatma in their heart. They are known as yogis. If you take Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, it is very clearly mentioned that the Supreme Lord has this personal feature, and he is there in the heart. We have to realize him. The dharana, the dhyana is done on him. Even from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, second chapter, we discussed in the last session. I had shown you that shloka where dhyana word is used, dharana word is used. Where dharana is of whom? Of the Supreme Lord, who is sitting in the heart as Paramatma. We have discussed that. Beyond that is the uh, Bhagavan feature of the Lord, where Krishna in his full spiritual potency is there, where we understand and realize that we are eternally servitors of Krishna, and to serve Krishna is our supremost duty. So the jnanis, through knowledge and jnana and vijnana, knowledge and realization, they come up to the stage of Brahman realization. The yogis, they realize Paramatma within their heart, and ultimately they do devotional service and go back to God. That we will see in this chapter. Then there are bhaktas, there are devotees who always sing the glory of the Supreme Lord, and they eternally reside with the Supreme Lord. Even if they are here or they are in the spiritual world, doesn't matter. They are always with the Supreme Lord because there is no distinction between the name, fame, quality, and pastimes of Lord. Anywhere or everywhere you remember Krishna, you are at Vrindavan. You just remember Krishna and you are at Vrindavan. That's how a devotee is. Wherever the devotee goes, that place becomes a tirtha because he is, carrying Krishna within his heart. That is the great position of a devotee, of a Vaishnava. So yes, Krishna is speaking about Ashtanga Yoga in this chapter because he wants to explain to Arjuna in detail about what is Ashtanga Yoga. Before you leave everything and want to go into the jungle, you first of all know that there are two stages of yoga. Yoga Rudha, and there is a perfectional stage. One is neophyte. He must not quit everything and go away. That Vairagya is not good. We had discussed it in the first 9 shlokas. Then he will talk about how the yogis who have perfected, how they behave and what do they do. All those things that we will discuss today, how they achieve it. But we must understand that even though Krishna spoke about Ashtanga Yoga to Arjuna, okay, Krishna talked about Jnana to Arjuna, Ashtanga to Arjuna, and Bhakti, everything to Arjuna. What did he ultimately do? We also found in the beginning of almost the chapters that we read so far, Arjuna always comes across this thing that you instruct me whatever is the most beneficial to me, right? We have seen this. Whatever is most beneficial to me, you instruct me that. I will do that. So, which means that after Krishna spoke the entire Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna must have accepted what is most beneficial to him. So, whatever is most beneficial to Arjuna must be the most beneficial to us also. We didn't see Arjuna running away from the battlefield of Kurukshetra and going into a jungle and sitting alone practicing yoga. No, we saw that Arjuna is actually listening to whatever Krishna says and accepting Krishna as his master, his dear friend, becoming Krishna's devotee. And Arjuna executed his duty as per Krishna's wish. What is this? This is bhakti. This is bhakti. To do everything for the sake of Krishna is bhakti. And this is the reason why we say that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's heart is actually revealing bhakti only. Bhakti is what Krishna is actually trying to teach through Bhagavad Gita. That is the most beneficial for us. From the perspective of this age of Kali, we cannot leave our home and go into the jungle and stay alone, you know, and sit there doing yoga. No, we cannot do that. In this age, we are so dull headed. We are not Shrutidharas like in the previous ages that you sit at the feet of your Guru and listen from him and never forget. No, we are not like that, right? We have a very, what do you say, very low class memory and low class brain also. Yeah. We are not meant for jnana, or we are not neither meant for yoga. Some exceptions might be there, but majority of us I'm speaking. So does that mean that only some people must approach spirituality? No, spirituality is a need for everyone. Then, so that is why we say that bhakti is the ultimate. Bhakti, through bhakti, you will have the ultimate, the real uh, transcendental realization. That is what fulfills our heart. Bhakti is what fulfills our heart, because that is our inherent nature, nothing else. That is why throughout Bhagavad Gita we see that even though Krishna is speaking about karma or jnana, Krishna will ultimately come to a point where he speaks about bhakti. That is the reason. Now coming to our question, that then what we must do? We must not do dhyana. We do dhyana. In bhakti also there is dhyana. What is that dhyana? That is harinam. Chanting the holy names of Krishna with utmost attention is actually dhyana. So that is why when I have decided that when we take verse by verse today, along with the verse whatever Krishna says, we will understand that how we can implement it in our day to day sadhana, so that it will help us. So we'll get into the shloka. Just share the screen. Yes. Yogi yunyeta satatam आत्मनं रहसि स्थितः एकाकी यतचित्तात्मा निराशेर अपरिग्रहः. So here Krishna is speaking about the practices in the yoga ruda stage. When you are initially coming into yoga, what are the practices that you must do? That Krishna speaks here. Yogi yunyeta satatam. योगी युन्नीत सततम. योगी, योगी मतलब कौन होता है? योगी मतलब वो व्यक्ति जो योग करना चाहता है कि नहीं, या फिर जो योग कर चुका है भगवान के साथ, उसे हम लोग योगी कहते हैं. द वन हु इज इन यूनियन विद द सुप्रीम इज कॉल्ड योगी. योगी युन्नीत सततम. युन्नीता means to focus. The yogi must focus when satatam, always. See, this is very important. Ki a yogi does not focus for some time. See, Krishna has not said that you must focus for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. No, Krishna is saying yogi yunyita satatam. Yogi is that personality who focuses on the Supreme Lord satatam, all the time, continuously, constantly. He is thinking. Yeah. Atmanam rahasi sthitah. And Atmanam Rahasi Sthitah. Atmanam means, uh, you know, he is like by the body, by the mind, by the self, you can say. Atmanam. So here, so we saw in the previous chapters or the shlokas also that Atmanam can be used for your mind, sometimes your body, sometimes your soul, like that. But here Atmanam is used for everything. He should, Atmanam here means by himself. Himself means all the three things: your body, mind, intellect, everything, yourself. आत्मानम रहसी स्थितः. रहस्य मतलब क्या होता है? रहस्य मतलब कोई चीज को हम गुप्त रखते हैं, सीक्रेट रखते हैं, उसको रहस्य कहते हैं ना. तो रहसी मीन्स दैट प्लेस वेयर नोबडी एल्स इज देयर, or you must stay alone, or you must stay at a secluded place. That is rahasi. Sthita means sthit rehna, should be there. So yogi yunyita satatam atmanam rahasi sthitah ekaki yata chittatma. Ekaki, alone. Okay, where rahasi sthitah, at a place which is secluded. There how must he say, sorry, how must he stay? Ekaki, alone. He must stay alone. Yata Chittatma. So, Chittatma means, you know, he should always mind his mind. इधर आत्मा जो यूज किया ना, वो मन के लिए यूज किया जा रहा है. आत्मा मीन्स माइंड हियर. Yata Chittatma means he must have a, you know, he must be always careful with his mind. He must always be careful. He must always be focused. He must just not, deviate. Right? And the most important two things, निराशीर अपरिग्रह. आशा का मतलब क्या होता है? आशा मतलब होता है डिजायर, है ना. निराशा मतलब नो डिजायर. राइट. सो निराशा or nirashir means he must not be attracted to anything else. That's why he must be careful. ऊपर है ना यथा चित्तात्मा. He must be careful in his mind. But careful of what? He must be careful that he is not deviating. Because when you stay alone, there are full chances of deviating. Right? But a person who is a yogi, he must not deviate. He must not, he must be nirashi. Means without being attracted by anything else. He must not be attracted by anything else. Aparigraha. Aparigraha means अपनापन, पोजेसिवनेस, कि ये मेरा है, ये उसका है, वो सब नहीं होना चाहिए उसमें. मतलब कोई और चीज से वो अट्रैक्ट भी नहीं होना चाहिए, और उसी के साथ में डिटैचमेंट भी होना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं कि पकड़ के रखा है बहुत सारी चीज को, ये धन मेरा है, ये जगह मेरा है, ये वो है, ये मेरा है, ये मेरा है. नो, देयर शुड बी नो पोजेसिवनेस, एंड देयर मस्ट बी नो अट्रैक्शन towards anything else. Nirashir aparigraha. See, here Krishna is giving, some very important lessons. Actually, 4 pointers of how you can, practice yoga. So the 4 things. What are the 4 things? Uh, One thing is yogi yunjita satatam. He must be constantly engaged. Okay. Now, atmanam rahasi sthitah. Always engaging body, mind, and self in samadhi. Okay. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam. So he must be engaged in the, in dhyana, or in the practice of yoga, or he must be in samadhi with his body, mind, and the very self all the time. Sapatam. And rahasya sthitah ekaki. He must be staying alone in a secluded place. Right? Living alone in a secluded place. Rahasya sthitah ekaki. Right? Then the third thing is always carefully controlling the mind. Yata chittatma. He should always be controlling his mind. He should not allow his mind to go here and there. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a section where, Shukadev Goswami also speaks about, controlling the mind. So we see there that, it is said that a yogi should control his mind just like a hunter, looks after a wild animal that he has caught from the jungle. Right? For example, any one of us, I don't think so, we have ever come across a situation where we have hunted some animals and put them inside a cage. So, for example, there is a very ferocious animal. Somehow or other, you defeated it, and you have kept it in a cage. Okay. Now you will always be careful, right? You will always be careful that कि बराबर बंद किया है ना, लॉक किया हुआ है ना, ऐसा तो नहीं ना कि किधर बाहर आ जाएगा अचानक से, बहुत डेंजर हो जाएगा, लेकिन so we are always careful. So just like that, a yogi must control his mind. A yogi must always keep watch on his mind. That where is my mind going? Am I properly keeping it? So it is very important. Sometimes people, they read shastras and they think that it is an exaggeration. हाँ ऐसा थोड़ी हो, इतना क्या है, ऐसे लगता है कभी कभी लोगों को कि बट योर माइंड कैन जस्ट take you from 100 to 0 in no time. It is for sure. His mind is such. So a yogi, he knows very well about this thing. And Krishna is speaking here very precisely that you must control your mind always. You must always, yata chittatma. You must always control your mind. You must always be careful about your mind. You must not just, I say you don't let loose your mind here and there. Very important. The third thing is always carefully controlling mind. Okay. And the fourth thing is free from all desires and possessiveness. Nirashir and aparigraha. Nirashir means devoid of desires, and aparigraha means without any possession. Right. These four things are very important for a yogi and for a sadhaka too. Like, even if we are on the path of bhakti, it doesn't mean that these words are not applicable on us. It is applicable on us, like anybody who is doing ashtanga yoga. It is applicable to us also. We are also doing yoga only, bhakti yoga. So you see, first thing, yogi yunjita satatam atmanam. Okay. Now, yogi, which yogi? In our context, bhakti yogi. Is being spoken about bhakti yogi, and we'll understand that Krishna is speaking about bhakti only for this fight. थोड़ा आगे जाके समझेगा हमको. तो एज अ एस्पायरिंग योगी, हम सब लोग वही चाहते हैं ना कि हम लोग योगी बने, हम भगवान के अच्छे डिवोटीज बने. तो एज अ एस्पायरिंग भक्ति योगी, वी मस्ट ऑलवेज फिक्स आवर कॉन्शियसनेस ऑन कृष्णा. दैट इज योगी युंजित सततम आत्मान. Atmanam, with body, mind, and the very self, we must engage ourselves in the service of the Supreme Lord. Right? With the body, how? By doing seva. With your eyes, by looking at the beautiful form of the Lord in the temple. With your hands, making garlands for the Lord, or playing any musical instruments for the pleasure of the Lord, or doing japa. Right? From your tongue, you can glorify the Lord. You can have Krishna prasadam, and you can chant the holy names of the Lord. You can read Bhagavad Gita. Ears hear, touching, touching the feet of the devotees of the Supreme Lord, paying obeisances with the entire body to the Lord. By doing all these things, we can engage our body for the service of the Lord. Then, how about engaging the mind? You must always think about the Lord. श्रवणं कीर्तनं विष्णु स्मरणं पादसेवनम् अर्चनं वन्दनं दास्यं साख्यम् आत्मनिवेदनम्. This is the ninefold devotional practices which is suggested by Prahlad Maharaj in the seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Shravanam, hearing; Kirtanam, speaking or glorifying or taking Harinam; Vishnu, Smaranam, thinking about Krishna. स्मरण करना भगवान का, याद करना भगवान का, भगवान के लीलाओं के बारे में याद करना, भगवान की करुणा के बारे में याद करना. टू टेक सम मोमेंट्स इन आवर लाइफ to appreciate and thank Krishna that what Krishna has done for us. I'm pretty sure that if we take 10 minutes out of our busy day at night before going to sleep just to remember Krishna, we will understand that Krishna is playing magic within our lives. ऐसे ऐसे चीजें हमको याद आएगा, अरे बाप रे मैंने कभी सोचा ही नहीं ऐसा कुछ हो सकता, बट ऐसा हो गया, ये कैसे हो गया? कृष्णा इज प्लेइंग. Right? Smaranam. We should, think about Krishna with our mind. Pada Sevanam. Archanam. We must do, offer deity worship. Vandanam, you must pay obeisances and offer prayers. Dasyam, you must surrender yourself. You must become a servant of the Lord. Atmanivedanam, you must give yourself to Krishna. And Sakhyam, do friendship with the Lord. Right? So we see here that with your body, mind, words, deeds, with your very self, you can always focus on Krishna. That is the real purport of yogi yunjita satatam atmanam. A yogi, what does he do? With his body, his mind, his deeds, his words, his thoughts, his very self, he focuses, he concentrates on Krishna all the time. Right? This is what we must do. How can we do that? From a practical standpoint, the first thing, the first, you know 3 to 4 hours of the day, we must make sure that we have that time for Krishna. If we are very new, we can at least keep 1 hour or half an hour for Krishna. बाद में टाइम बढ़ाने का काम ही विल डू. ही विल अट्रैक्ट स्टील योर हार्ट अवे. प्रजय प्रसिद्धम नवनीत चौरम. सो गोपांगनानां च दुकूलचोरम अनेक जन्मार्जित पाप चौरम चौराग्रगण्यम पुरुषम नम. He is Chaura Agraganyan. He is the expert among thieves. He'll steal away your heart. But before that, we must make sure that we must give some time for him. Right? In the morning hours, we must give some time for Krishna. We should exclusively keep that time for Krishna. There we will only focus on Krishna. We will do our rounds, our japa, and we will think of him. Right? We will offer prayers to him. And throughout the day, we can mold our lives in such a way that we can keep remembering Krishna. This world is also made in such a way that there are many things which will keep us reminding about Krishna. Wherever you see, you can remember Krishna. It is a very advanced stage, but still we must endeavor from our end that we should not forget Krishna. Even though we might be in our workplace or whatever we are doing, we can just take a moment and think about Krishna. Oh my dear Lord, I just forgot about you. You can at least tell like that. So the thing is, we must try to constantly think about Krishna. And trust me, it is not impossible. It is possible. And initially it can be difficult, but after a point of time, you will naturally keep on thinking about Krishna. And after that, a point will come where you will start dreaming about Krishna also. It will also come. So we have to mold our life in such a way. Like practically speaking, doing our japa, the first thing. Second, hearing from Vaishnavas regularly. Hearing from Vaishnavas. In this age, it is so the best part of this age is YouTube and all. We have so many good Vaishnavas there who have spoke about Krishna, so we can listen about Krishna. We can try to understand him. Third, keeping time for reading. We should keep time for reading in our life. Reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna book, or any other small Prabhupada books, which are very powerful. We should read about Krishna. We should accept what Krishna accepts. Prasadam. We should take prasadam. Whatever is made, we must make sure that we offer it to Krishna. Yeah, of course, we should not offer anything tamasic to Krishna. But yes, whatever we can offer, we must offer to Krishna and take it. So in that way, we will remember Krishna. Fifth one is associating with devotees. We must always try to associate with devotees, because when we associate with devotees is when we get closer and closer to Krishna, because they will keep on speaking about Krishna. So we'll get closer and closer about Krishna. So these are ABCDs of devotional service. A for association, B for books, C for chanting, D for diet, prasad, and E is actually, you can say, exercise maybe. All those. So these are ABCDs actually. When we see ABCDs of devotional life. Through these ABCDs itself, we can see that a majority of the part of our day will be Krishna conscious automatically. Right? So the first line will be fulfilled. Yogi yunjita satatam atmana. Right? You must always think about Krishna. That doesn't mean that you will just leave aside your job and everything and sit at one place and think about Krishna. If you can do that, is great. But we are not great enough to do all those things. That is why we will do that thing also and this thing also. And when we do that part of our life, at that time also we will remember Krishna, will do it for his sake, for his satisfaction. Through that, we will be qualified one day to understand the, you know, the qualities and form and pastimes of Krishna. So the first point is always engaging body, mind, intellect, and yourself in Krishna. Rahasi stitah. Now this is very important. Rahasi stitah ekar. Now sitting at a secluded place, all alone. This is not actually very much recommended for us, you know. But one thing we must do like this also. That is our japa. Not that when we do our japa, we should not associate with devotees. I'm not telling that. If we associate with devotees and do japa, that is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Because the devotees will be having a very high level of consciousness, and when you associate with them and do japa, at that time your mind also comes to that plan. But the thing is, we must make sure that in our day to day life, we must have that time of japa where you have this secret conversation with Krishna. Like His Grace Aindra Prabhu would always say this. I heard this in one of his classes. That the Naam Sankirtan, the Sankirtan that goes on in temples when you go. Like people sit for Kirtan with harmonium and everything, and they'll sing Hare Krishna, all those tunes they will take, they'll sing. This Sankirtan is actually Rasalila. It tells us. Rasalila is a very big subject. So it is actually dancing with Krishna with all his devotees. Like his Rasalila to chant, to sing in Sankirtan. And what is Japa? Japa is Nikunja Seva. Like that he would say. Now Nikunja Seva and Rasalila are very big topics, so we won't get into detail. But what I'm trying to say is Japa is a very intimate uh, thing that we have with Krishna in our day-to-day life. Right? That is when we are alone with Krishna. With Krishna and Srimati Radharani sitting, we are alone, sitting at their footstep, at their lotus feet, and we chant for their pleasure. When we say Hare, Krishna smiles, and when we say Krishna, Srimati Radharani smiles. So for the smile of the divine couple, we'll just please them, and we will tell them that, my dear Lord, please engage me in your devotional service. That is, uh, chanting of the holy names. So when we do chanting of the holy name, we must always have this mood, right? So many a times devotees, they don't have mood when they chant. They just chant because they have to complete their rounds. No, it should not be like that. When we chant the holy names, we should have this mood that I am sitting, I am with Srimati Radharani and Krishna. For their pleasure, I'm chanting the holy names. I'm vibrating the holy names. So I must be very careful. And this holy name, this Naam Krishna, is non different from Krishna himself. So we must be very respectful. So you see, there is an intimate connection between the sadhaka and the sadhaka with Krishna. So this is something which we can do on a regular basis. You have to be away. See, what does it mean to become ekaki, sitting alone and becoming rahasi? It doesn't mean that avoiding everyone. It means to avoid materialistic people, to run away from this material world and sit alone. Sitting with like-minded people is not there. So, a yogi, he must detach himself from the material world and go alone into a secluded place to do his yogic practices. Similarly, a devotee must detach himself, must cut himself off from this material world and be secluded, stay alone. Stay alone here means staying in association with devotees, because you all have the same object of love. So staying alone for us, it means to stay away from materialistic people, to stay alone from materialistic world. That is what it means. because you see this world is actually running behind sense objects, sense gratification. But we are opposite, we don't want it, so we seclude ourselves, है ना. So we see rahasi sthitah ekati, we must chant like that. Yata chittatma, and we must be always careful where our mind is going. What is my mind thinking when I'm doing japa? Where is my mind going when I'm in the office? Am I interested in gossiping? Is that do I have interest in gossiping, or do I have interest in knowing about, what bad do other people have? Whatever somebody does, am I looking at the bad things inside him, or am I appreciating the good side and accepting him for what he is? Am I thinking about Krishna, or am I thinking about Maya? All these things are yata chittatma. Should be very careful. Very carefully notice your mind. What are his desires? What is he trying to do? Where is his, interest flowing towards? Like for example, sometimes we see it is very subtle. You just feel like meeting someone, and you know that person is very much materialistic, and it can ruin your consciousness. But still you feel like doing it. That is where you have to be careful. You have to be careful with your mind. What is your mind, what is that which your mind loves to hear? What is that which your mind loves to see? Like the progress is known like this only. If your mind loves to see the beautiful form of the Lord, congratulations. But if your mind is not interested in seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, but your mind is interested in watching reels and shorts and social media and chit chats and gossiping, you must be careful. You must be very careful, because you are going away from Krishna, and that day is not very far that your mind will drag you away from the lotus feet of Krishna. Your mind alone is your friend and your enemy. Your friend when it obeys you, and your enemy when it is against you. So yata chittatma, we must be always careful about our mind. कि मेरा मन किधर जा रहा है, किधर जा रहा है, क्या सोच रहा है, क्या चीज़ में इंटरेस्ट दिखा रहा है. ये चीज़ के बारे में हमको we must always regularly keep watching our mind, right? Now here we can see, here only we can see the difference, how the world is going and what Krishna is saying, how much deviated the world is from Krishna's message. The world is actually saying that जो मन में आया करो यार, मजे करो, चिल करो यार, चिल मारो. And what is Krishna saying? Yata chittatma, always be careful about your mind. And we must, as sadhakas, we must always look up to this. We must be always careful about our mind. Next is Nirashir and Aparigraha. This is for us also. Nirashir, we must not have any desire, any desire for sense gratification which takes us away from Krishna. We must not have anything that takes us away from Krishna. See, bhakti का मतलब ही ये होता है. Bhakti is even above mukti. Why? Because in mukti also we are selfish. That I don't want suffering, that's why I want to go back. But in bhakti, the only concern that the devotee has is how can I serve my beloved. So if you have any desires which is for your personal sense gratification, then you have successfully deviated from bhakti. That is the meaning. And initially it will be there. Of course, we are not perfect. But yata chittatma, you should be always careful inside your. Very important. Nirashir. We should not have any ulterior, what do you say, attractions in this world. Aparigraha. We should not have possessive feelings. What does it mean to not have possessive feeling? It means that you must not be uh, egoistic. You must not think that this is mine. ये मेरा है, इसे कोई और नहीं छू सकता, है ना. ऐसा जो फीलिंग होगा, पोजेसिवनेस नहीं होना चाहिए हमारे में. We should not have that feeling of proprietorship and controllership. This is mine, I'll control this. If you have a controlling mentality or a proprietor mentality, it means you are away from Krishna. Why? Because a devotee always thinks that, my dear Lord, everything belongs to you and I have nothing. जन्मैश्वर्यश्रुतश्रीभिर्एदमानं मदपुमान् नैवार्हत्य विधातुं वै त्वामकिञ्चन गोचरं नमो अकिञ्चन वित्ताय निवृत्तगुणवृत्तये आत्मा रामाय शान्ताय कैवल्यपतये नमः. Queen Kunti in her prayers in the first canto 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, she says this, that Namo Akinchana Vittaya. Krishna, you belong to Akinchana Vittaya. Somebody who has nothing, you belong to him. What does it mean? Does it mean that you must leave everything so that Krishna can accept you? No. Does it mean that you should not have a home, you should not have clothes, then only Krishna will accept you? You should leave everything aside and run away? No. The real purport to it is that a real devotee is always Akinchana. He does not have any possessions. What does it mean? It means that whatever the world thinks that is his possession is actually Krishna's possession. He does not consider any possession to be his own. This is Yukta Vairagya. This is real Vairagya. Not to think that I will, just leave away everything and run. That is not Vairagya. This is Vairagya. To be in the midst of everything and not be touched. That famous shloka that we discussed, just like the lotus leaf on which there is a drop of water but the leaf is not affected by the water. Similarly, you can be in the midst of everything, at the same time you can be akinchan, you can be aparigraha without a feeling of any possession, because you think that everything belongs to my lord, he has given. Like, it took a bit long but very important shloka. Actually, each and every shloka of Bhagavad Gita has very in-depth meaning. So we must give justice to it. It took a lot of time, but still. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. It's all. Here again, Prabhupada he elaborately explains on how the different degrees in which Krishna is realized and all those things. You must read this purport. It's very beautiful, actually. Okay, go to the next shloka. Now, from this shloka onwards, 11 to 14, uh, these four shlokas, Krishna is going to speak about the basic practices. How do you practice Ashtanga? So people who are very much inclined towards yoga, you all will very much love it. Actually, what Krishna wants to speak about today. This is actually a complete summary study, you can see, of Patanjali Yoga Chapters. Okay. शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरम् आसनमात्मनः नात्युच्छ्रितं नातिनीचं चैलाजिनि कुशोत्तरम् तत्रैकाग्रं मनः कृत्वा यतचित्तेन्द्रियक्रियः उपविश्यासने युञ्यात् योगम् आत्मविशुद्धये. Very beautiful. You see, शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य. शुचौ देशे, शुचौ मतलब क्या होता है? शुचौ मतलब क्लीन, है ना? अ क्लीन. देशे मीन्स अ प्लेस. देश बोलते हैं ना हम लोग. तो शुचौ देशे, so ये शुचौ देशे also can have multiple meanings. This- Multiple. This is what is meant. Like शुचौ देशे means that place where the yogi decides to perform his sadhana should be clean. First of all, it should be a clean place. शुचौ देशे. Second thing, it should be a holy place. You see, even if you take Srimad Bhagavatam, in the chapter where, in the first canto itself, when Srila Vyasadeva decides to write Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that, you know, I have made a detailed video on this on YouTube, you can find. So, there are 10 shlokas, I have discussed that. So, in that also, we see that first thing only they describe is the place where he sat down to write Srimad Bhagavatam. So the place is very important. Some people think that the place is not very important, but if you see any Vedic literature, the importance of place, the importance of the direction in which you sit, the importance of cleanliness, and all is very much elaborately discussed. So here also you see Krishna says that शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य, कहाँ पर बैठना चाहिए? शुचौ देश, at a शुचौ means clean, or you can also say that, you know, clean in a godly way, like sanctified place, है ना, spiritually clean होना चाहिए उधर, which can also mean that you should go at a place of pilgrimage, right? So no, not go to any other place, should go to a pilgrimage. शुचौ देश pratisthapya, pratisthapya, you must place what? शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरम आसनमात्मनः. सो प्रतिष्ठाप्य मीन्स प्रतिष्ठा करो. क्या चीज का प्रतिष्ठा? स्थिरम आसनम. आसन, आसन का मतलब क्या होता है? द प्लेस वेर यू सिट, राइट? सो यू शुड प्लेस समथिंग टू सिट ओवर. स्थिरम, इट शुड बी स्थिरम, इट शुड नॉट बी. स्थिर का मतलब क्या होता है कि एक जगह पे फिक्स होना चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं कि हिलना डुलना नहीं चाहिए, ऐसा एक जगह पे फिक्स होना चाहिए. स्थिरम. शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरम आसनम आत्मनः, राइट? उसको खुद को बैठने के लिए, हिज ओन मतलब आत्मनः. सो ही मस्ट सिट वेयर, he must place an asan at a place which is Shucha Udesha, which is sanctified, which is a place of pilgrimage. स्थिरम आसनम आत्मनः, स्थिर होना चाहिए आसन. It should not be what do you say, uh, it should not be let loose, it should be firm. स्थिर होना चाहिए. स्थिरम आसनम आत्मनः. न अति उच्छ्रितम, बहुत ज्यादा ऊंचे स्थान पर नहीं होना चाहिए, मतलब बैठने का बता रहे हैं. इट शुड नॉट बी वेरी मच अबव द ग्राउंड लेवल, नेदर इट शुड बी वेरी लो. न अति नीचम, बहुत ज्यादा नीचे भी नहीं होना चाहिए, है ना. न अति उच्छ्रितम, न अति नीचम, राइट? मतलब समवेयर इन बिटवीन इट शुड बी फ्रॉम the level of the asana is speaking. First of all, Krishna spoke about where the asana must be. Second thing, how the asana must be, it must be firm. And the third thing is, the position of the asana should not be very high or very low. That is what he is saying. Chailajina Kushottaram, and it should be on what, like Chailajina Kushottaram means kusha grass. There is a particular kind of grass, kusha बोलते हैं. कुश ग्रास जो रहता है, कुश ग्रास से बना हुआ आसन होना चाहिए, और उसके ऊपर एक सॉफ्ट क्लोथ आपको डालना चाहिए. चैलाजिन कुशोत्तरा, एंड देयर शुड बी डियर स्किन आल्सो, वी विल सी. ओके. For the sake of deer skin, you must not kill a deer and go and sit. There are some people are there, बहुत महान होते हैं वो लोग, ऐसा सोचते हैं कि हाँ ये तो गलत है, भगवत गीता में भी हिंसा के बारे में बोला है, सो वी कैन ईट मीट, ऐसा सब बोलते हैं, फिर किसी को भी किधर से भी कनेक्ट करते हैं. सो फॉर द सेक ऑफ गेटिंग डियर स्किन, you need not kill a deer, of course. So there can be, so these are the times when people would go into the jungle and do tapasya. So it was available, some dead skin, it will be available, so they will take that for the use. So why would they use it? Because by using it, snakes won't come. ऐसा बहुत सारा रीजन होता है जिसकी वजह से वो चीज को यूज करते थे पहले के टाइम. तत्र एकाग्रम मन कृत्वा. So this is very important. Tatra, after that, what you must do? First of all, Krishna told that Shuchau Deshe, you have to place what? You have to place your asana. It should not be very high or very low. You have to place it. And how would the asana be made of? It will be made of kusha grasses, and on that there will be a soft cloth and deer skin. Right? And after that, what you have to do? Tatra, after that, ekagram manah kritva. Eka agram manah kritva. एकाग्र मतलब वन पॉइंटेड अटेंशन, वन पॉइंटेड फोकस. एक means one, and agra means a point. एकाग्र इसलिए हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, एकाग्रता मतलब क्या होता है, कॉन्सेंट्रेशन को एकाग्रता बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में, उसका रीजन ये है, तत्र एकाग्रम मन कृत, मन को एकाग्र करो उसके बाद बैठकर, तत्र एकाग्रम मन कृत्वा यत चित्तेन्द्रिय क्रियः, and after that what you have to do, yata you have to control what, chitta, indriya and kriya, three things. Chitta means your mind and intellect, chitta. Indriya means your senses, and kriya means what you do. And so you have to control all the three things. You have to control your mind, you have to control your senses, and you have to control your actions. And now this you can see that ये लाइन में अगर हम लोग पढ़ेंगे तो when you control the mind, automatically you have to control the senses, automatically control होता है. Then you have to, when your senses are controlled, you won't be doing anything which is not needed, so your kriya is also controlled. But what is important here is you have to sit there and you have to do एकाग्र मन कृत्वा, आपके मन को एकाग्र करो, एक जगह पर फोकस करो, और क्या करो, यत चित्त इंद्रिय क्रिया, कंट्रोल करो किसको, चित्त इंद्रिय और क्रिया को, तीनों को. देन उपविश्यासने युन्यात्, उपविश्य मतलब टू सिट डाउन, आसने कहाँ पर, जो आसन आपने बनाया था ना वो आसन पे, उपविश्यासने युन्यात् योगम आत्मविशुद्ध है, एंड यू हैव टू डू वर्क, युन्यात मतलब करना, क्या करना है, युन्यात योगम, यू हैव टू डू योगा, फॉर व्हाट, आत्मविशुद्धये, दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आत्मविशुद्धये मीन्स व्हाट, प्यूरिफाइंग योर सेल्फ, फॉर दैट you have to do what, for that you have to do yoga. It's very important. So people, this is the purpose of yoga. Krishna is telling what is the purpose of yoga here. First of all, Krishna says that where you have to sit and all those things. Then after that, Krishna is saying that you have to fix your mind, right? And for what you are doing yoga, that also Krishna is saying for Atma Vishuddha. To purify your mind, you have to do yoga. To purify your existence, to purify your, uh, your very self. That is the purpose of yoga. So it is not, Krishna never anywhere in the Bhagavad Gita he says that for health benefits you do. It is actually a byproduct. It comes along with it. But what is the real purpose? The real purpose is to Atma Vishuddhaya, to purify your heart, you purify your existence. See, to practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. Right? The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart. For what? To purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities, and fixing the mind on one point. Right? So this is a very beautiful, pair of shlokas you can say, because Krishna answers so many questions. Krishna has answered here, like how to sit, where to sit, and on what to sit, not too high, not too low. Then he says that it must be in a sacred place, shuchau deshe. Then he says that you have to sit very firmly and you have to practice yoga. For what you have to practice yoga? To purify the heart. And how do you purify the heart? By controlling your mind, senses, and activities, and fixing the mind on one point. Ekagra chitta. See here, Prabhupada in his commentary, he has quoted this verse. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva. This was the shloka which I was quoting today, previously. It's a very beautiful shloka actually. You may read it in the purports. You all must read purports of Srila Prabhupada. It's very beautiful and so many questions are actually answered in the purport. So yes, in this 13th and 14th shloka also, Krishna is going to speak about the uh, the practices only. So in the previous shloka, we saw how where you must sit, how you must sit. You must sit very firmly, and how you must, why you must do yoga, all those things we saw. Now Krishna will elaborately explain a bit on the sitting posture and all those things. Samam kayo shiro grivam धारयन् अचलं स्थिरः सम्प्रेक्षय नासिकाग्रं स्वं दिशश्चानवलोकयन् प्रशान्तात्मा विगतद्भिर्ब्रह्मचारी व्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्य मच्चित्तो युक्त आसीत मत्परः. It's a very nice shloka, very important for us also. You see, samam kaya shiro grivam. Okay, kaya means your body. Okay, kaya means your body. Shira means your head. Shiras बोलते ना, shira head. Grivam means your neck. So your kaya shiro grivam samam, Krishna is saying, which means that you have to sit very straight so that your head, your entire body, and your neck come in the same line, like that Krishna is saying. Samam kaya shiro grivam Dharayan achalam sthirah. And you have to be achalam. Achalam means chalam matlab moving. Achalam means fixed, firm. Dharayan. You have to, hold your kaya, shira, grivams on a straight line, samam. How? Achalam sthiraha. And you should be sthiraha. You have to sit very firmly. Then, sampreksha. Sampreksha means to look. प्रेक्ष्य मतलब बोलते हैं ना, प्रेक्षक मतलब कौन होता है, जो देखता है उसको प्रेक्षक बोलते हैं ना. तो संप्रेक्ष मतलब टू सी. संप्रेक्ष्य व्हाट? नासिका. नासिका मतलब नाक. नासिका अग्रम, ऑन द टिप ऑफ योर नोज. संप्रेक्ष्य नासिका अग्रम स्वम. सो यू हैव टू लुक एट योर ओन टिप ऑफ द नोज. व्हाट कृष्णा इज सेइंग. दिशश्च अनवलोकय. दिशस, दिशा मतलब ऑल दिस, ये क्या बोलते हैं, जितने भी दिशाएं हैं ना, डायरेक्शंस. च अनवलोकयन, यू शुड नॉट बी लुकिंग हियर एंड देयर. दैट इज व्हाट इट मीन्स. सो कृष्णा इज स्पीकिंग अबाउट फोकसिंग on dharana. You see, Krishna is only speaking about all those yama niyama, asana, all those things Krishna is speaking. So in this verse, first Krishna spoke about asana, how you must sit karke. You see, you have to be samam kaya shiro, like that. Then you must be achalam sthiraha, then samprekshya nasika, where you should focus. All these things Krishna spoke. Then now something internal, now Krishna is speaking. You see, prashantatma vigata dhir. Prashantatma means the yogi, he must be a prashantatma. Prashanta matlab he should be peaceful. Vigata means without, dhir means bhaya, without any, what do you say, without any bhaya, without any fear, you should say. So yogi must be prashanta, should be sitting. Because if you have bhaya, how will you focus? You cannot focus, right? When you have fear of something, you cannot focus on one thing. So you cannot be ekagra chitta, right? So Krishna is saying here that you must be prashantatma and vigataddev. You should not fear. Now the most important thing, brahmachari vrate sthitah. And you must be what? Brahmachari. Brahmachari means you must be celibate. You must avoid sex life. If you want to perfect yoga, then you have to be brahmachari. You must be devoid of sex life. You should stay away from the opposite sex. Brahmachari vrate sthitah. He should be sthitah. Manah samyamya machitto. And mana means mind. Samyamya means it should be controlled, right? The the mind should be controlled. And how you should control the mind? You should fix the mind where? Mat chitto. Mat means Krishna is referring to himself here. Mat chitto. You must think about Krishna. Krishna himself is saying, you must think about Krishna. Mat chitto yukta asita matpara. Yukta means to be in yoga. Asita matpara means, asita means to sit. mat paraha means thinking of me as the ultimate goal. Mat paraha. Paraha matlab the ultimate goal. So you should make Krishna the ultimate goal. See, Krishna is speaking about bhakti only. Means Ashtanga yoga is also performed for the sake of bhakti. That is what it means. Krishna is saying here, Samyamya Machitto, Yukta, Asita, Matparaha. And now what we are doing, people are, taking yoga away from Krishna. So it doesn't help. It doesn't work that way. Because yoga is meant for this. Right? You can read the translation. One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. You see? And again, Prabhupada explains about the Paramatma feature of the Lord in the purport. It's a very beautiful purport. So all these points, it is very important. And see, I told you before also, कि ultimately घूम फिर के we are going to come on bhakti only. Why? Because every other path without a tinge of bhakti is incomplete. That is how it is. Bhakti will complete everything. Right? It's a very beautiful verse. I am thinking. I thought of taking up till 23 today, but I don't see it happening. So what I'll do is I'll explain this in a bit, so that we can be clear, because all these topics are very important. We cannot just skip and run through. So that's fine. So yes, so when we do our japa also, we should have a good posture. That is what it means. Whatever yogasana, whatever practices we do, we should always be careful of the postures. We should never think that it is something mechanical, so it is not very important. No, it is not like that. The focus of your mind is very much connected with how you sit, how you breathe, and all these things. So it is very important for us also to understand and appreciate that all these things are important for us in our sadhana also. Right? See, samam kaya shirogrivam. So whenever we sit, we should sit very straight and dharayan achalam sthitam. We should not be moving. Achalam sthitam. Right? Samaprekshya nasikagram swam. Now we do japa, so we need not focus our eyes on the tip of the nose or something. But this is for the advanced yogis, right? Who leave everything and for the pursuit of Ashtanga Yoga. So what should we focus on? We should focus on each and every syllable of the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare. We should focus on each and every syllables. Hare Krishna. So that's how you give attention to the holy name, right? That's how you give attention to Krishna, who has mercifully come in front of you in the form of holy name. Right? So that must be very much focused. We must be one pointed. We must have an ekagra chitta for that. And dishascha anavalokaya. You must not be distracted, looking here and there. Some people do that. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, और बाकी कुर्ता अच्छा लग रहा है. No, we should not do that. We should be, you know, at one point. When we are doing japa, you are only doing japa, nothing else. When you are reading, you are only reading. When you are having prasad, you are only having prasad. Should be very much focused, not here and there. Prashanta Atma Vikata. So this is very important for the control of the mind and to do any sort of sadhana. Prashant Atma. You should be peaceful. If you are not peaceful, you cannot attain perfection. It is just not there. And being peaceful also come along with this only. That is a different story. Like, you should be. How can you be peaceful when you are trying to control things? It doesn't happen that. When we are surrendered, we automatically become peaceful. इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड. पीपल एट टाइम्स दे थिंक दैट ऐसा हो जाएगा तो मेरे को शांति मिलेगा, ये व्यक्ति अगर मेरे जीवन से चले जाएगा तो मुझे शांति मिलेगी, ये व्यक्ति मेरे जीवन में आ गया तो मुझे शांति मिलेगी, मुझे इतने पैसे मिल गए तो मैं शांत हो जाऊंगा, मुझे 1 करोड़ रुपए मिल गया तो मैं शांत हो जाऊंगा, फिर मेरे को जॉब पे जाने का टेंशन नहीं है ना. सुबह सुबह ट्रेन पकड़ते टाइम मुझे 8:18 का ट्रेन मिल गया तो मैं शांत हो जाऊंगा, ऐसे लोग ऐसे सोचते हैं. बट इट डजेंट हैपन दैट वे. योर माइंड इज एजिटेटेड बिकॉज यू आर पंपिंग इन फ्यूअल फॉर एजिटेशन. यू आर जस्ट गिविंग इन टू हिज डिजायर्स. उसको अलग 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 डिजायर्स है, हम उसको फुलफिल करने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो वो मन सबड्यू नहीं होता उसकी वजह से. हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, हम लोग को ऐसा लग रहा है कि वो डिजायर को फुलफिल करने से इट इज लाइक पुटिंग वाटर इनटू फायर, बट एक्चुअली व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इज दैट यू आर अननोइंगली पुटिंग घी इनटू फायर. इट इज इग्नाइटिंग, राइट. सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि प्रशांत आत्मा कैसे बने, शांति कैसे मिलेगा. शांति इज अ बाई प्रोडक्ट ऑफ भक्ति. सिंपल. The more surrendered you are, the more peaceful you will be, the more shanta you will be. Why? Because once you are surrendered, it means that you have 100% conviction that my dear Lord, my dear Krishna, He will never do something which is detrimental to me, which is bad for me. He will never do that. Then why should I worry? Is there any question of worry for me? No. Why should I take care? Why should I worry? Because Krishna is there to worry for me, right? Krishna is there. So a devotee, he is always prashant atma. He's always shant. He's always peaceful. Why? Because he very precisely knows that Krishna will take care of him. He is convinced, 100%. Like for example, the story of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is a little boy. Yes, he 4 or 5 years of age. Hiranyakashipu is such a big, demon. He's a king of the demons that he is staying in the Bhavan of Indra. He has made all these, Indra, Varuna, Chandra, all the devatas, each and every personality except for Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, Shivji. He made every one of them their servant, his servant. He changed the law of, the nature. Everything he changed like that. He was so powerful. And his little son Prahlad, he was a very great devotee of Krishna, of Vishnu. He is a great Vaishnava, a little Vaishnava. So he's so cute, but now Hiranyakashipu is not Shant. You see, he is controlling everything. The sun, the moon, the rains, the wind, everything is under his control. But still, he is not Shanta. He is always agitated with him. Why? Because Prahlad is behaving in such a way. Why is Prahlad, why is Prahlad devotee of that person whom I hate the most? He is not Prashant. At the same time, on the contrary, how is Prahlad Maharaj? Very peaceful. He is a 5-year-old boy whom his father only wants him to get killed. It is so tragic, है ना. हमें कोई भी अगर मारने का कोशिश करे, फॉर दैट मैटर ऑफ, कोई मारने का कोशिश ना भी करे, कोई हमें 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 कभी ऐसा पता चल गया कि यार हमारे बारे में कुछ तो गलत अफवाह इधर उधर फैल गया है, तो बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे जो लोग हम लोग को पकड़ के मारना चाहते हैं, मतलब मारने डालना चाहते हैं, बट मारना चाहते हैं, छमाट वमाट मारना चाहते हैं. अगर ऐसा भी हो तो हम लोग सो पाएंगे क्या एक दिन शांति से? नहीं, हम लोग सोचेंगे यार लेकिन मैंने तो कुछ किया नहीं, ऐसे कैसे मैं बाहर निकलूंगा और ये लोग ने मुझे कुछ कर दिया तो, है ना, वो चीज आएगी. Prahlad Maharaj is 5 years old. His father is Hiranyakashipu. His father is that personality whom Indra is afraid of. Varuna is afraid of. Chandra, Surya is afraid of. All these personalities are afraid of Hiranyakashipu. They are acting like servants at Hiranyakashipu's home. But little boy Prahlad, he knows that my father is devising to kill me. Never in Srimad Bhagavatam or any other literature you will find that Prahlad Maharaj was in anxiety. Prahlad Maharaj was getting panic attacks or anxiety attacks. No. Why? Completely surrendered. Completely devoted to Vishnu. Complete. Right? So what will he fear of? There is no fear. So Prashant Atma, becoming Prashant Atma means you should be devoid of fear automatically. Like Krishna says here, Vigatabdhir. Should be devoid of fear. How do you get devoid of fear? When you take refuge in the lotus feet of Krishna. The gopis in Gopi Gita, 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that's very beautiful verse. Virachita वृष्णिधूर्यते चरणमीयुषां संसृतेर्भयात् करसरोरुहं कान्तकामदं शिरसि देहि न श्रीकरगृहम्. When Krishna, disappears from the Rasa Mandali at that point, some gopis they sing this. Virachita abhayam vrishnidhurya te charanam iyusham samsruter bhayat. Virachita abhayam. You are that personality who gives up abhayam, who gives abhayam. Abhaya means fearlessness, who grants fearlessness. To whom? Virachita abhayam vrishnidhurya te charanam iyusham samsruter bhayat. For that person who approaches your lotus feet, samsruter bhaya, being afraid from material existence. You are that person. So Krishna is who? Krishna gives fearlessness, grants prayer fearlessness to those people who turn towards him. Devotees of Krishna are not fearful. If any person who is fearful and a devotee of Krishna, he is not a devotee of Krishna yet. He is trying. A devotee of Krishna, maximum, he is only fearful for Krishna. Like Yashoda Maya. Yashoda Maya was always anxious, transcendently anxious that her little baby is becoming a thief day by day. Who will give him ladki? Who will get him married? Who will give him his daughter? And so Yashoda Maya was always anxious for Krishna. So devotees of Krishna are not anxious. विरचिताभयं वृष्णिदूर्यते चरणमीयुषां संस्कृतेर्भयात् कर सरोरुहं कांत कामदं शिरसि देहि न श्री. Your lotus hands are wish fulfilling, my dear Lord. And it is Shri Karagriham. It is the house, home of Shri's Kara, like Lakshmi Devi's or Srimati Radharani's hands. So you please place that hand on my head, like that book is asking. So Virachita Abhayam, Krishna makes everyone Abhay. Even in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we see that. Arjuna, Krishna Krishna Mahabaho, Bhaktanam Abhayam Kara, Tvam Eko Dahyamananam Apavargosi Samshita. Arjuna says. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho, Bhaktanam Abhayam Kara. You are who? You are that personality who gives Abhaya, who makes your devotee fearless, who makes your devotee Abhayam Kara. It's very, one of the very beautiful qualities of Krishna. Once you take refuge in Krishna, once you take, you fall down before Krishna and say that Krishna, I'm yours, Krishna will never leave you. And Krishna will make you fearless. There is no more fear of this world. There is no fear of birth, no fear of death, no fear of anything. The devotees of Krishna are fearless. They are always chanting. You see Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada also at the age of 70, surviving through heart attacks on a cargo ship, he goes to America where he has nobody to welcome. He has no money, only 40 rupees or something here. Right? Nobody is there. The culture is different. The Nobody knows Krishna. He went there with Srimad Bhagavatam with the conviction that, oh, my dear Lord, you are there. You are making me dance. Why should I worry? It is up to you. Whatever you want to do, you do. So this is the position of a devotee. You know, a devotee is fearless. He is not fearful of anything. Like Prahlad Maharaj, he's never fearful of anything. Not fearful of his father. So his father always tried to kill him. He used to make different uh, this thing. One time, he ordered his men to throw Prahlad from a cliff, down from a cliff. So when they were throwing Prahlad from the cliff, at that moment also, it's very beautiful. At that moment also, when Prahlad Maharaj is falling, Prahlad Maharaj is smiling and he is saying Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And what happens? Immediately Vishnu protects him. Immediately the Supreme Lord protects him. That is Krishna and his devotee. He is not fearful. Even in that case, he is not fearful. He is not fearful to sit inside fire with Holika. He is not fearful of being trampled by wild elephants, intoxicated elephants. He is not fearful of sitting inside a room full of snakes which are venomous. He is not fearful for even looking at his father and answering him that yes, inside this pillar also Nrsimha Dev is. It's very, you know, very beautiful. Even any, for that matter, if you take any devotee's life, you see that a devotee is always fearless. And once you are fearless, you are prashanta. You are always shanta. You are always peaceful. So it is very important that we also become shanta. But how do we become shanta? How do we become without fear? By approaching Krishna, taking shelter of, falling at his lotus feet and crying and begging and saying him that, my dear Lord, I am yours. Whatever I am, I am yours. From today onwards, you are my refuge. You are my shelter. Whatever you give me, I'll accept it. Whatever you want me to not have, I don't want it. You see, you will become fearless. Right? Brahmachari vrate sthitah. We should be pure. And for the sake of that purity, we should remain celibate. So, for the people who are not married, for them, brahmacharya means to be celibate, to stay away from opposite gender, to respect them for what they are, but keeping a safe distance. Only for the sake of service or only for the sake of your work, you may associate with them. But apart from that, no loose talking. Nothing. It is brahmacharya. You should be brahmacharya. So, with that only mind will come under control. You cannot just let loose your mind, do anything and everything, and you think that every perfection will come. That doesn't happen. That. So, brahmachari vrate sthitah. It is very important. It's a very big topic actually, brahmacharya. In fact, each and every line, each and every word of this shloka is very important for a sadhaka. Manaha samyamyamachitto. The most important thing. We should place our mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Should place our machitto on Krishna. Krishna says here, we should give our mind to Him. We should give our heart to Krishna. Right? Then we can be Prashant Atma. Then we can be Vigatabhai. Then we can, easily be Brahmachari Vratesthi. Then we can focus. Then we can control our mind. Then we can get Krishna. You have to just give yourself to Krishna. Yukta asita matparaha. And inside your heart, you have to see Krishna. You have to surrender yourself to Krishna. And inside your heart, you should always know this, that Krishna is the ultimate goal of life. By doing this, we will get Krishna and we will go back home, back to God. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for attending. I'm so sorry. It is going very slow, but it is very important also. That's why I'm taking it a bit slow. Hare Krishna. If you all have any doubt, you can ask me.
But it was very beautiful. And it is so hard to surrender
Yes. Yes.
even after trying so hard.
Yes. It is very hard to say.
Yeah,
It
it was very
becomes
beautiful.
it becomes very hard to surrender because we are very much inclined towards our own ways of controlling things, and because it is because of our sense gratification, mainly because our senses are agitated, and because we have that proprietorship mentality. See, false ego is the most difficult thing to overcome. So we have to sincerely chant the holy names and expect that magic to happen one day. It's very difficult.
Yep, agreed. And
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can we end the meeting?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.